What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. It is a busy show. I have to laugh because there is so much to get through today. As you can see from the title, we've got ownership update. On top of that, we've got incoming as well as outgoings, and not just any other players. There are some big players involved. A big name being mentioned as a potential outgoing. It's going to be a busy show. Make sure to get involved. Leave down your thoughts and questions in the comment section down below if you're watching on replay. Please hit the like button if you do enjoy the content. We've been doing fantastically. So thank you to each and every single one of you that's been doing that. And also get involved in the live comment section as well. As I've said, this might be the longest one yet. It might be. We just have to figure out a way to get through all of these news. There's about 10 solid news with coming from good sources. I think the biggest one is probably the ownership, but before then there's improved bids on players as well. That was the actual title of this video until Matt Woosnam dropped a literal bomb onto us about Eagle football and potential new Saudi and US owners taking over. So we're going to get through that as well. But Lou, how you doing, man? It's Monday. To me, this is the start of the new year. I always said it. You can't start a new year like on a Wednesday or Thursday. It's a Monday, new fresh week, and Palace have literally took it seriously regarding ownership, regarding players coming in, players going out. It's crazy today. Like, it's been non-stop. I'm pretty sure there'll be something coming through whilst we're talking live on air as well.
Yeah, man. I thought it would be a quiet Monday. Back to work. Everyone's back to work. Everyone's diet starts today. But Palace have started off. All I know is the agents are working overtime right now.
The agents are working overtime as well as potential
and the
clubs.
journalists all fighting to get their news out first. We had how many different journalists today have wrote about Palace?
I've seen Fabrizio Romano, Matt Woosnam,
Alex Howe, all of them.
Alex Howe. There's literally everyone. I've seen Chelsea journals, which is a little spoiler alert because there's an update regarding the centre backs, and that's not only just Chalobah. That's on Marc Guehi, which we'll talk about, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, it is going to be a busy show. Let's not even waste any time. Let's get into the ownership. As always, people, hit the like button if you haven't already done so. Whilst I bring out the first bit of news, which is on the ownership, which is the big news that's come out around 5 p.m. UK time. And that is according to The Athletic, so a very reliable source, is that a group backed by individuals from Saudi Arabia as well as the United States has signed an exclusive agreement to buy out Eagle Football and take a 45% stake in the Premier League club Crystal Palace. An exclusive agreement has been reached. We're going to get into the article, who they are, what stage we're at, what's happening with Sportsbank, and more. But before we do, Lou, your thoughts on this? I was not expecting this. Sportsbank were the first and foremost group that's running. We've heard about them for a few weeks now. However, this is a different group, not related to Sportsbank. Saudi as well as American owners. I'll mention a few names as well. But when you first saw this, was you expecting anything like this? I'll be honest, it just came out of nowhere.
No, I didn't expect it. Well, maybe it's in correlation with all these bids for players and whatnot. But I don't know if you saw Tim's comment. If you pin it up, and I think
there's a lot of comments coming through.
I think it's regarding Texas created a kind of a bidding war because it says Sportsbank are still in the race to buy into Eagle Holding. So either way, it feels like it basically says in the article, whoever signs the deal first and proves the money and gets it over the line, they're the ones who will take over. Either way, there's an injection of money and shares are being bought. I don't really know about the details of finance and stuff like that. All I know is we're going to be bought out to a certain extent. There's going to be investment. So I kind of just look at that point. I think we'll have to wait and see about the details. But either way, there's some sort of American, and they're not the ones that they spoke about today. They're American-born Saudi, so it's nothing to do with Saudi money.
I'm going to get into that. In terms,
I'm just happy there's investment. And like we said, we needed the deal to go through as soon as possible, so we have funds going into January and the summer.
So it hasn't officially gone through. It's an exclusive agreement, but the deal is not complete yet. Let's get into the specifics of the article. Make sure to check out Athletic as well. They do great articles on Palace after games, before games, and the breakout news like this as well. Check out Matt Wislam on Twitter and Athletic as well. It's well worth the subscription. I can 100% say that if you're a football fan, not even just a Palace fan. So the details that came out from the Athletic are as following. I've tried to break it down as much as possible. There was a lot. I've tried to pick out the key details, but we'll start off with who are they? Who are these people? So it is a group which includes the Dallas Mavericks head coach, Jason Kidd, former Morgan Stanley sports executive, and a former Rock Nation attorney executive as well. And the group's funding comes from Mansour and Haider Saeed, who are two brothers who were born in Saudi Arabia but are educated in the US. So it's not directly coming from the Saudi government. They're just Saudi nationals who are educated in the US. So, I mean, that could answer a few questions about, is this the government? Is it similar to Newcastle? No, it's not. The initial proposal from them actually fell through because it was under John Textor's valuation. However, the group have increased its offer to £148 million, and 148.
Wasn't that their original bid?
So no, it's increased. Sorry, yeah, you're right. It's increased.
That was their original bid, 148.
Yeah. So it doesn't really indicate how much the current bid is, which has allowed John Textor to say, okay, fair enough. We're happy with this. And yeah, it's been sufficient enough now to agree a deal. Should they meet the conditions of the agreement? Of course, there's an exclusive agreement right now in place, and it'll be subject to, of course, Premier League approval as well. So they've increased the offer from £148 million, which initially got turned down. In terms of the actual brothers who are behind the funding, the Saeed brothers have actually met with the Palace hierarchy, including Textor and Chairman Steve Parish. They've attended a match at Sellers Park and toured around the club's academy. And the people from, the former attorney from Morgan Stanley, sports executive from Morgan Stanley, and from Rock Nation have also, come from a background of working extensively with high-profile athletes and would intend to bring that experience with them at Palace. So the people that were formerly involved in Rock Nation and also Morgan Stanley, the reason for their involvement is that they've worked at, sports background. Of course, Rock Nation has an agency as well, and they want to bring that experience. And Jason Kidd has been inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. So I guess he's just there for money's sake. I don't know what Jason Kidd is going to bring into Palace, that is Mavericks head coach.
I think it'll be like a similar consortium to how Bournemouth were taken over.
I can't remember exactly how Bournemouth.
Michael B. Jordan. It's like a group of people, but they're like the face of it. Then they've got investors behind them as well. Yeah,
exactly. So, yeah, the two brothers have already met with Steve Parish and John Textor as well. So they've toured the academy, and then I guess after they done that, they increased the offer. They're probably happy with how things are going at Palace. And then so it seems like they will fund the money. The people behind them will be, sports people who have worked in a sports environment, and then they will try to help bring the experience working with high-profile athletes as well as Jason Kidd. However, we can move on to the next point about Sportsbank, but is there anything there that interests you about Morgan Stanley, former sports executive, as well as Rock Nation?
I'll be honest. None of it really bothers me. I just want once the deal's gone through, we can go through the details, and maybe Tim can come on and break it down a bit more. But I think, like me, there's probably a large proportion of Palace fans that, as long as the money is legitimate and the investment is good, and we would just want to see a reflection on the pitch and new players coming in and the stand being built, I couldn't really care less who it was.
Yeah. Now, about Sportsbank are not out of the question, people. As I've said at the start of the stream, this deal is not over. There's an exclusive agreement in place. However, Sportsbank are also in the picture. And the article has said the following about Sportsbank. It says that meanwhile, Sportsbank, a group brought together by former Everton director, is still seeking to invest in Eagle football. That could scupper the potential deal with the US Saudi group should Techstar and the Eagle board decide to retain the shares in Palace instead. So there is that possibility that Sportsbank could still win the bid. And further on in the article, there's an interesting point which we'll get into. But yeah, let me continue with this about Sportsbank. Sportsbank would not be buying out Eagle's stake in Palace, which we spoke about before. So Sportsbank wants to buy into Eagle Football Holdings. And what would happen is that John Textor would not be part of the Palace board. If Sportsbank buy into Eagle Football Holdings, they will, step up and they will be they'll take Texas spot, even though Texas will still be involved with Eagle football.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
You can go and watch the explanation on the previous episode with Bruno, and he explains it all.
Yeah. So now this is where it gets a bit interesting. Any deal is expected to come down to who is first to satisfy the relevant conditions and signs of binding an agreement to complete. Although Texas' preference remains that Sportsbank invests in Eagle footballs, and that money is used, and that money is then used to pursue a controlling stake in Palace. So Texas prefers having Sportsbank investing rather than the actual Saudi US group. That's his preference. However, we don't know with Sportsbank and the funding, so we don't know if that's going to happen. But yeah, do you get what I've just said, or is it a bit confusing? I've tried to read out bits.
Yeah, obviously.
So essentially, let me just break it down. So this group, US Saudi group, it's just a bunch of individuals. It's not the US. It's not, of course, it's not going to be US government, but it's not the Saudi government. It's two brothers that will be funding it, as well as people behind them that's got experience working with high professional athletes, including a former current Hall of Famer in basketball, Jason Kidd. They've already spoke to Parish and Textor, and they've upped their offer, and now there's an exclusive agreement in place. So that's the current situation with those. However, Sportsbank are still in the picture because that's what John Textor ideally prefers, Sportsbank buying into Eagle Football Holding. And what that would mean is that John Textor steps down from the Palace board, and as a result, eventually he still wants Eagle Football Holdings to buy controlling stake in Crystal Palace, even though John Textor won't be at board level. Hopefully that simplified version makes a bit more sense, because there was a lot of information that's been put out in the article that I've tried to break down. Now your thoughts and the chat's thoughts. I'm going to go through the comments.
Yeah, go through some comments.
Shall I go through comments? What do you think about everything?
I'm like I said, I just kind of care what goes on the pitch and our sustainability. I don't really. Do you know what? I would kind of prefer Textor was bought out, maybe just for a fresh start.
Yeah.
But either way, if they invest into Eagle Holdings, it is what it is. I can't control it. I just want like I said, the reflection on the pitch and transfers, and like what Patrick said, new signings.
Exactly. Shout out to Patrick, by the way, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Saying need an agreement soon and new signings for Glasner ASAP. Agree. This is looking a bit more positive. So let's see what actually happens. Sergeant with super chat as well, saying which Palace player would last longest in Squid Games. You know what? I'm going to save that till the end, Sergeant. But I appreciate the super chat. Don't worry, we're going to talk about that because there is a lot of news, so we don't get lost in track and thought. So yeah, my preference would be similar to yours. To be fair, the Sportsbank situation seems a bit confusing. Not confusing in terms of like it's kind of clear they want to buy into Eagle Football Holding. That would mean Texas kind of steps down from board level at Palace, but I would like a different group. In honesty, I like the sound of the US Saudi-backed group. It's not the Saudi government, as I've said many times, and I'll say it again. It's two brothers, and they've got people who worked in, high sport, Morgan Stanley in sports department, as well as Rock Nation as well. So, yeah, the current names that's been mentioned, I prefer them. Because Sportsbank, ideally, they will buy into Eagle Football Holdings, but Eagle Football Holdings still want a controlling stake. It doesn't solve the problem. That's the thing. Like, even article suggests don't take a step down, but eventually he wants a controlling stake at Palace of Eagle Football Holdings. And it does, it's kind of like, all right, for now, Sportsbank can be there, but eventually we'll come back and we want the controlling stake. I don't know. I just feel like this approach with this group sounds a bit more exciting because it kind of silences those questions about, all right, what next now? Let's say Sportsbank invested in Eagle Football Holding. How long are they going to wait? How long are Eagle Football Holding going to wait until they want to control the stake? They're going to be issues down the line. Like, that's the only major question that I have with the Sportsbank deal. So yeah, look, I think this is exciting news. I am very excited by this. Of course, some of the names that's been mentioned as well, they've got good experience in sport. And yeah, in terms of like questions, I see what everyone else is saying in the chat as well, people. Louis saying, in all honesty, I want the money. Fair enough. We've got, does Parish have a say in it? So I think with the current, with the Saudi and US-backed group, it would be the same running of football club. There's been no suggestions that Parish steps down or Harrison Blitzer steps down. I think it would just be a case of they come in. And the biggest thing out of this would be that they 100% have conversation. They've met up already. This group have met up, well, especially the two brothers that are going to be funding the move. They've met up with Parish and Texter. So any questions there, Parish would make it clear. So for me, as long as they're happy with the running of the football club as it is, then I'm fine with that. The problem is, if Texas is not directly involved in Eagle Football Holdings, if Sportsbank buys into the group and it's not directly involved in terms of board level Palace, he still wants a controlling stake. The problem's kind of getting shifted under. So maybe if this group's just happy with the current state, then it makes life easier for all of us. So that's where I stand with it. I think Parish, of course, must have a say in it because he's running the football club. So it would be crazy if he doesn't. Actually, in terms of a say, I don't know if he actually has a say in terms of John Texter, who he sells his shares to. But of course, he would speak to Sportsbank and also the current group, which doesn't really have a name. It's just like a Saudi US back group. They don't have no name like Sportsbank. So if he'll speak to them, but I don't think he can, of course, have a direct say in terms of who John Texter sells to. That's up to John Texter. It's not Parish's shares that he'll be selling. That's 45% is a good chunk as well in the football club. Looney saying with big money investors coming in like this, I see it likely Parish will be out eventually. No, not necessarily. What we have to remember is that, yes, at times people can be frustrated with Steve Parish, with the running of the football club and whatever thoughts you have of him. However, for investors buying into Palace, you have to look at it from a business perspective. Steve Parish has kept us up in the Premier League for 10 years now. 10 or over 10 years, 11 years. And that's a massive plus to these investors. They don't want the risk of Palace going down. So a lot of these investors will actually be happy. In fact, they would probably want to see Parish there. Maybe down the line that could change. Maybe after a while they might say, all right, we want to take it to the next level. But I think Parish, the problem with Parish is that he hasn't really had the funds and he's a bit more risk averse at times. But if this group is happy with how Parish sees the expansion of the club, they might be, we've seen it. Not everyone is against Parish. Harrison Blitzer, they seem happy with Parish. So if this group, the new group that's been mentioned, they like the plan of building a new stand and then eventually just organically growing, then, they would want to keep Parish long term. Why not? It makes sense because he's got all the experience. He's been running the football club for how many years? And I can't lie, to some of you lot, maybe Parish might not seem like a great person. Of course, not everyone is against Parish, but for those who are, against him, it might not seem like, he's not taking us to the next level. And I understand your concerns. However, for investors, I don't know about you, Louis, Parish makes a lot of sense to have at a football club because he's saved pair of hands. He knows how to, he knows how to run the football club. And now we've got assets that are worth, £60 million, likes of Eze. I know Guehi is going to be sold for less, but we had Guehi, Elise. Parish has done fantastically in that regards.
Yeah, definitely. Investors will be happy with Parish, but like I said, the financial side is not really. It's not my expertise. I don't really know the ins and outs. It's hard for me to give my opinion on stuff that I don't really know about. But yeah, as long as it helps the football side, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Twist is saying, what is the next level? We are playing catch up. I think that has run in a football club, and now I'm not saying like I'm Parish's massivest fan. Like I'm not saying that by any means. However, we've got stability right now. We are building. We've got a plan to build a new stand. In fact, it's not a plan. It's already started. The progress has already started. So that in itself, you might think is a bit slow, and I understand those concerns, but that will take us to another level. I don't know about next level. Well, I guess it'll be a next level in terms of, I don't know how big that level will be, but that's in itself is still true. It does take us to a next level. However, as fans, even me included, I don't really care about finances. I want to see success on the pitch. However, this is the way that Parish wants to run the football club, and it's not like an awful thing. It's just very slow progress, which we get frustrated in, because even when you look at the summer window, and we'll talk about transfers, by the way, because there's a lot of transfer talk in this episode that we need to cover. At times things can be a bit slow, but he just sees it. That's how he sees the running of this football club. That's how he wants this football club to be run. So yeah. All right, cool. There's also T behind the scenes. T, it's been a while, man. It's been a while. You coming like a ghost. Are you involved in this still?
What go on, bro?
Are you being? I can't even see you. Your connection. I can't even see. Can you see me?
Not really good.
I can't see you.
Yeah,
it's our chief. This is our chief scout. It's back in the next chief scout.
Exactly. He's been working. Tell us who you found. Tell us who you found. T, your connection is
it your camera? I think it's your camera.
Yeah, maybe turn your camera on and off. I'll take you off, then I'll bring you back in. I'll keep an eye on you. But yeah, maybe refresh it and join us again, and then we'll get T's thoughts on it. Main stand will definitely take us to a bigger level. Success on the pitch comes from the money we have. But yeah, T's just come out of nowhere, by the way. I was not even expecting him to just come out of nowhere. He's probably behind the deal. He's been working. I don't know where he's been.
That's where all these transfer rumors have come from. T's been working, man.
Yeah, it's T. Including new owners. But look, people, let's see what happens. Things are progressing well, seems like. New group involved. Texter wants Sportsbank. However, that doesn't mean Sportsbank will get the offer. It might mean that, if the Saudi US group show funds, give Texter what he wants, he might be out. And I'm not saying, what have you made of Texter and his time at Palace, by the way? Just whilst we're on this talk. Would you because you said that you wouldn't want him to stay, right? Am I right in saying that?
If I'm being honest, like I generally don't really take notice of what goes on behind the scenes. Like, I don't get stressed over Parish. I don't think about the ownership. Texter doesn't come in my mind. Wharton comes in my mind. Who's coming in next comes in mind. Those are the things that come into mind. And obviously I would just rather this get sped up so we can concentrate on that.
Yeah. I don't know about
Texter. I don't know. Texter helped. He injected funds when we needed to. He's a bit reckless. I don't really know him as a person. These millionaire, billionaire people, like, there's not really much we know about them. You see him doing crazy stuff on skateboards. You see him calling Brazilian league corrupt. But yeah, he's a passionate guy. But yeah, like I said, I need to know who's coming in before the Leicester game. That's what I care about.
I don't think these new owners would mean, we signed 10 players in this window.
5.
First of all, I don't expect the deal to be done that quickly. Like, of course, there's an exclusive agreement in place, but I don't expect the deal to be done that quickly. So yeah, like I think, yeah, it will be more likely we'll find out how much money, for example, I guess as one of these is completed, whether that's Sportsbank or this group, we'll find out how this impacts the window. But I doubt it will be this window. I feel like this window is already set based on the rumors. Anyways, it seems like we're just going ahead. We're going ahead and nothing has officially been signed. And also, yeah, Texter hasn't been. Me personally, I'd rather move on from Texter because it just seems like it's not going to work with Parish, and Parish is staying at the football club, so it doesn't make sense. But Texter hasn't been horrible. He's invested into the academy. He's invested, transfer windows as well. So he's definitely helped us get to where we are right now. But we're just in a disagreement, and it just can't continue like this. We can't have both of our owners, which I think they get along still. like there's been no indication. I know at times we speak about like it's Texas versus Parish, but I've never ever had those a sense of like they really hate each other. I just think they have disagreements in terms of business perspective and the running of the football club, but I think they still get along. So yeah, look, Texas had this time, and we'll see if it stays on. It might not be for too long. T, yeah, you're looking good there. We can actually see you now.
He looks like a scout. T, you're dressed like a scout as well. You just need some sunglasses.
Exactly. Where have you been? Where have you been?
I was in the stands, in it.
Are you behind the still? Are you behind the still? Like you've been off the radar, and you're coming in as soon as we announce. You know that
all I can say is that phone calls and emails have been exchanged. That's all I can put out there.
It's taking your time. It's taking your time. What have you made of? I don't know if you heard or if you read the article from the Athletic about potential Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd,
buying into Palace, Hall of Famer, as well as a few other people.
Didn't even know Jason Kidd likes football, but it makes sense though. He likes to pass.
He does. Maybe he's our new number 10. Maybe he's our new number 10. He loves his assists. I
feel like Jason Kidd's more of an Adam Wharton though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Spray the ball around.
Fair enough. You know what? I would have preferred Wemby. I'll be honest. But yeah, it is what it is. We'll take Jason Kidd. But jokes aside, what have you made of all of these? Well, not all of these talks. I mean, we'll talk about Sportsbank after. But what have you made of this fresh news that's come out today?
It's kind of shocking that you just hear this out of nowhere. But they have been saying through all of this that this group in particular was still in the mix, but I just find it.
We're losing you again.
Oh my god! We had a snowstorm here, so the internet's crazy because of the snowstorm.
Maybe turn off your camera.
Can you hear me okay?
Maybe it might help you out. Turn off your camera.
Let me just see.
Yeah, that might help out your connection. See if that works. And yes, people, we are going to be talking about transfers. There's a lot to talk about transfers.
But no, but what is interesting that they said they were always in the mix. It was always they were always there. But I find it funny that this happens as soon as you start to hear about all this stuff about the Sportsbank guys. I know the article dropped now. The relationship with Sportsbank and stuff. But I just find it's weird timing to me that it seemed like things were getting so close with Sportsbank, and all of a sudden, boom, they've got the exclusivity agreement, and here we are.
What have you made of the group and some of the names being mentioned, as well as the two brothers? I don't know exactly how much the two brothers are worth, by the way. So that's interesting.
I'm not sure. I mean,
find that information.
I mean, they got some high-end connections. I mean, one's with I think like Wells Fargo or something. Another one was like a Rock Nation lawyer. So, and then they're tied to Saudi money. So apparently this is like a mixture of Saudi and American money too. So it sounds like there could be some pretty decent backing behind them.
Yeah, it does. In terms of, I guess we haven't found out about the time. How long is this exclusive agreement in place? Because I'm pretty sure John Textor had. Maybe it was by a verbal agreement, but he had something similar to the Everton deal, and then Everton got bought out by someone else. So this doesn't necessarily mean that the deal is done, but of course it is in a positive step. Is there any concerns with this new group in comparison to Sportsbank? Is there like any pros and cons between the differences of these two groups? I don't know. Well, Sportsbank is very hard to say. Of course, we had Bruno from the Palace Way on at the start of the window, and he explained a bit more about them. However, I just feel like there's something a bit more exciting about this group rather than Sportsbank. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you look. I don't know, Louis, if you feel the same, or the chat, or T, you feel the same. But I just feel like with some of the names being involved, I know you mentioned Wells Fargo, but it's Morgan Stanley, former sports.
Morgan Stanley, my bad,
former sports executive. But it just feels like some of the names being involved, like they are serious people. Like when you
they're reputable, like
Morgan Stanley, as well as the money behind them.
They're tied to reputable brands, which I think is for us as fans and people it's believable to have somebody from Morgan Stanley, an NBA head coach and former player. You know what I'm saying? A lawyer for Rock Nation. It's more believable than just these guys that pop up out of nowhere. These businesses that all of a sudden just exist out of nowhere. Sports Bank being created literally in 2024. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
Yeah, you're still cutting out, but I heard what you said. Like, I agree. I think that's what it comes down to for me as well. Like, it's a bit more believable. It's a bit more understanding. Like, they've worked for top firms, and there's names behind it. You know where they've come from. Where with Sports Bank is, I mean, we've got a bit of information, but it's still like, who are these people really? Like, it's hard to say at times, and I think that's why I kind of buy into this group more than Sports Bank currently. Anyways, of course, there might be a few other stuff that pop up which might change my opinion, but from the Athletics article, which I recommend all of you to read, I've read a bit of the article out in the stream. It does sound exciting. But look, people, we'll see what happens with the ownership group. We'll leave it there with the ownership, and we'll move on to transfers, because there's a lot of transfers as well. But yeah, I don't know where to start with transfers, because there's been a lot that's come out, Lou. Where should we start?
I think maybe, can you do a poll on like who would everyone prefer out of
Sports Bank.
out of Doak, Bellingham, SA.
Okay, I mean, let's talk about them, then we'll do the poll.
Because obviously they're the three.
Yeah, and there's more though. There is more.
For each, we can do it for each position, because then we'll get like.
Let's start off with Ben Doak. So according to Alan Nixon, it was breaking news that Crystal Palace are ready to make a new bid for Liverpool winger Ben Doak, worth around £20 million in total. Palace are going in with more guaranteed cash and throwing extras to take him closer to Liverpool's £30 million valuation. Start off with you, Lou. Increased bid. Are you surprised? It started off with £15 million. There was around talks that they want £25 to £30 million. I spoke to Gris Khan, who's part of the Big Six, who's a Liverpool fan as well. He's got good sources. He said maybe £20 million plus add-ons could get the deal done. It seems like we are offering £20 million. And yeah, like it doesn't indicate that it's going to be accepted. But according to Alan Nixon, we've upped our offer. Is this something that you're excited by, or you just have to wait and see if it gets rejected?
I'll be excited at the right price. I don't want to overpay. Yeah, he looks like a great player. Looks like he can play at multiple positions. Looks like he can fit into different teams. He played in the Liverpool team. He looked good for Scotland. He's obviously been doing well for Middlesbrough. I think he's a completely different profile to Bellingham. I think Bellingham, like he said, but there was also an article that said both these deals are not likely to be done in January. So I don't know whether it's like agents putting it out. Are we trying to spread our bets? We don't want other clubs to know who we're really going for. But yeah, he looks like a good prospect, and I'll be happy with him coming in.
T, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh.
What do you make of it? Because of course we haven't had you on for these episodes.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've looked into the Doak kid. I'm not super high on him the way I think others are, or the way some are. I mean, I think he's doing an okay job right now at Middlesbrough. The number, I don't really like the number that's associated.
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy who really, I mean, he hasn't really done much to this point, especially at our level. So, but I mean, he does seem like a pretty good player, but I don't know. Is it just me, or is he really small too?
Is that 5'5", 5'6"?
Man, like, what are we talking about here, man? I'm not. I can't see myself wanting to pay upwards of $20 million for a 5'5" miniature winger. Like, I can't do it. But
to me,
to each their own.
I mean, SA from Millwall looks like a player that should be at Palace.
I would much rather have SA. Absolutely.
And even in the chat now, put whether you like Doak. Someone said I was saying it wrong. Doak or SA.
Yeah, Doak.
Put in the chat. Who would you rather?
Let's talk about SA, because there's an update on SA as well. According to Fabrizio Romano, which came out a few hours ago, is that Crystal Palace have actually made an approach to sign Esse from Millwall. He's one of the players highest on their list, although concluding a deal in January will be challenging. So, yeah, that comment. Yeah, Esse is another player that's been mentioned before the window. However, according to Fabrizio Romano, we have made an approach and he remains one of the highest players on our list. So are we all saying that we prefer Esse? And why is that?
I think he's left-footed. He's quick. He's fits our model, like the Elise, the Eze, the Wharton. It's that same profile. Yeah, I love it. I think that's better than the Doak. I hate being fleeced by the big six clubs. I like it when we're fleecing these championship clubs for their best prospects, buying at low prices instead of going to these big teams and overpaying 30 million for their
big time
for what they think Doak's worth 30 million. I'd rather go to Millwall and buy Esse for 10 to 15.
Yeah, but then would they sell it for 10 to 15?
It's Millwall. They need the money.
And there's I keep hearing this talk about a $12 million release clause.
And they're mid-table.
Why haven't we done it?
They're mid-table. They're mid-table. They're not pushing for playoffs. They need the money. If they're ever going to get into the Premier League, they need these type of injections of cash.
Let's say that we had the opportunity to get both on the same price. You lot would still stick with Esse over Doak. Is it
at the price? At the price quoted.
Yeah.
And I feel like we could get Esse for less. Like
we can, but yeah, but it seems like it's going to be difficult to get him in January. So is it a case of waiting till the summer, because then Raksak is going to be coming back to the football club as well? If it's difficult, we need someone now. So what do we do?
Which is interesting to me, because like I said, I've seen all this stuff about him having like a $12.5 million release clause, and it's like, if that's the truth, why is it complicated? I paid that for him for sure.
It might not be activated in January. It could be like a summer one.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't come active until the summer.
Bruno, who came on here from the Palace Way, he said that he sees it being difficult as well. I remember when he came on the stream explaining about all the sports bank stuff and we spoke about transfers, he did say he sees Esse being a difficult one to get in January. So I'm not exactly too sure why it is difficult, because maybe that release clause doesn't exist, or maybe it's not activated in January.
Yeah.
So that could be the case. But apparently we have made an approach. So I guess tomorrow or sometime this week we should be able to find out what happens with him. Another player that we've been linked with, and there's been twists and turns today with this player, is the left wing back Hadji Malick Diouf, which according to Dom Smith came out in the morning. I was like, what's going on here? He said the following. He said that Prague expect Crystal Palace to give up on signing Diouf. It remains to be seen whether Palace feel differently and proceed after £12.5 million rejected bid. But on top of that, the Palace Way later on said the following, saying that Crystal Palace are ready to make an improved offer on Hadji Malick Diouf. Palace are prepared to move on to alternative targets at left wing back should Prague reject their next offer. So it seems like the deal is, I don't know if there's mind games being played, but there's a few twists and turns. It's like Palace are ready to give up kind of vibes that I'm getting from both of these stories. Well, one of them literally said that.
It's just remember, Slavia Prague have just had a cash injection from Spurs. They just bought their goalkeeper.
Yeah, they bought the goalkeeper.
So they've dealt with one Premier League club. They know that they've got assets that Premier League teams want. They're not just going to roll over and say, "Here's the money for the first bid." They're going to come back and say, "We want all of this money." Then that player is going to be like, "I want to go," and then they'll be like, "Okay, we'll find the middle ground." That's what's going to happen. And
that's what apparently has happened, because I saw a posting that said that Diouf made the assertion of a dream move, and now the team is like, hey, we might end up bringing our demands down because we don't want to have an unhappy player.
Yeah, so I've seen that as well, where it could be mind games being played by Palace in terms of putting stories out there saying we're going to give up if you don't accept our next offer, And then what happens is Diouf goes to his club saying, how on earth are you going to do this to me? I want to move to the Premier League. And then agreement is found in between. So I'm getting that kind of vibe right now out of this deal. I don't think Palace are truly going to give up after £12.5 million has been rejected. But it seems like, all right, you've rejected our first bid. The next bid, if we reject it, we're moving on. And I don't know if we've made that bid yet. I feel like we've kind of said that's the case. And now we're maybe expecting Diouf or his agent to go to the football club, Prague, and say, the next bid that comes in, you need to accept it. So I feel like there's a bit of mind games being played here.
What mostly happens is that Palace will speak to Diouf's agent, and Diouf's agent will be like, "You bid this. This is what will get him out." Those are the type of conversations they'll be having, and then it will be like discussing add-ons and incentives and stuff like that. But I think this is a deal that's probably the nearest to being done.
Exactly. Well, that's what I thought as well. Even though there's been mentions about Palace giving up, I still feel like it is the nearest to being done. I don't feel like Palace is going to give up. However, the Palace way did say the following, that there are alternatives there. Some of the names you've of course heard about, which includes Best Day that Palace could be looking at if this Diouf deal doesn't go ahead, as well as Luton defender Alfie Doughty, who are on the shortlist. So two other wing-back options. Out of all these, those three names that I've mentioned, it seems like Diouf is the one that we're targeting the most. But would any of you prefer Best Day or Doughty from Luton rather than Diouf?
I think I prefer Best Day, me personally, just because of, like I always say, our team lacks technicians, like players who are comfortable on the ball, and Best Day is one of those players. But it's like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer flying left wing back with pace and strength in Diouf? Or do you prefer someone who's going to be a bit more technical, great at set pieces, can play in a few different positions? It's preference.
Yeah, I feel like Best Day is more difficulty. That's the vibes I'm getting from it. And I think that's why we've gone with Diouf in the first place, because he recently joined Benfica. And I think there was interest from other clubs.
There's interest from another club that apparently was pretty close to him.
He was
Union Berlin.
Yeah, he was cooking at Heidenheim in the Bundesliga. Yeah. He was doing some bits there.
He was getting goals and assists. I think, let me find the stats. But when I first looked at it, he scored a lot of goals last season, it felt like, and got a lot of assists at that, defensive.
Yes, Union Berlin has interest in him, apparently.
So I think that's what probably makes it a bit more complicated. But he's 26 years old, so he's experienced, he's ready
made, ready to go.
Yeah, ready made. So I don't know if that plays a part.
Who do you prefer, T?
I prefer Diouf. I do, because he fits our motto a little bit better too.
Yeah,
what we're trying to do and investing in young guys. And being that he can come in and he doesn't have to set the world on fire from day one and be starting every single match.
But D wants him to come in and start.
I think that's eventually what we want him to be. What I'm saying is we're in a position.
This season.
This season.
I mean, it could come to that. He could get to that point. I'm just saying we're not expecting him to come in from day one in the club and be the starting left wing back. Like, I think he'll have some time to.
It might not be day one, but in a month or two max. Like, he's starting this season. Otherwise, why sign him in January?
No. I'm saying he'll sign, but I'm saying it will. I understand the model. I think, like you said, Bester would probably want to come and play every game because he's 26. I think Diouf, in the sense that he's 19, he can bide his time. He can work his way in. I said, like, it's a preference.
He can.
But I'm saying, if you throw... No, not Doughty. That's lazy work. T, tell them no.
Oh, no, not him. No.
How you know man to say no? What do you want to say? Yes.
I didn't even return their phone call. Man. They just got a voicemail. They just got a voicemail. Like, I'm not returning their phone call. No.
What if you wanted to say yes?
No, sir. Not for him. No. Not for him.
I like Diouf. I like the fact. I like his profile. I like his pace. I like he looks strong. He looks like he can finish. I like that he'll have
a lot of room for potential.
Probably move in with Sarr. Do you know what I mean? Sarr
I do like that connection too, because when we talked about that a little bit, Lou, like, I like the fact that that may help us in him becoming more comfortable and settling in and having interest in just in wanting to come to the team in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, we know those types of things matter. So, and he just recently debuted with Senegal, I do believe.
Yeah. I wonder if he's Christian or Muslim, because he could get integrated into the church group as well.
I think he's probably still religious.
Yeah. Either way.
Either way, exactly. The religious at Palace group grows. But yeah, look, I think I based on the stories that's come out today, it seems like we're gonna go for another bid with Diouf, but we're kind of like warning them. We're trying to get into their heads. So let's see what happens with that. In terms of the next couple of days, I expect something.
Either way, it looks like we're going to end up breaking their transfer record.
How much did Tottenham pay for the goalie?
No, Tottenham only played 12 for the goalie, but
they're flush with cash. They're flush with cash right now.
Souček,
that's a lot of money for Prague.
Yeah, Souček is their record signing, and it was like 16 million euros.
They might want to break that.
Yeah, so I figured, I mean, and for us, it's like, what are we doing? We're doing like 15 million pounds. That sets their record. Like, do it. Like, me personally, it's like, do it. Like, okay.
Push the button.
This comment is a nice segue to the next point. Half of the church group might be going back to Chelsea. Let's talk about that, because today, various sources, including the Athletic. Yeah, let's mention the story and then we'll get into it. Chelsea apparently do have the option to recall Trevor Chalobah, people. However, it is currently unclear whether they will activate the clause or not. And that's various sources, including the Athletic. However, Fabrizio Romano later on tweeted the following, saying that Chelsea are seriously considering to bring in one more centre-back this month. Not only Trevor Chalobah, I understand Guehi has been discussed as an option internally. Not easy, but he has 18 months left on his contract. And Chelsea, of course, he does say it again, that they have a recall clause for Trevor Chalobah as point of contact. This is not... I don't think they'll sign Guehi. I would be shocked if we sell Guehi right now. But
do you think we would sell Guehi after they pull the plug on Chalobah and he's doing so well with this? I don't think we would ever do that. Like,
to me, both of the names doesn't really make sense. I think Guehi makes more sense than Chalobah. Why on earth? I'm just thinking, like, pretend to be Chalobah for a second. You got X'd out of the Chelsea squad. Literally in pre-season, they said no, you're not training with us in pre-season.
Yep, he trained by himself.
Exactly, training by yourself. And this is a club, I believe he was from the Chelsea Academy as well. And that's what they've done to him. Then afterwards, he joins Palace, and now he's playing regular Premier League football. They want to recall him. If I was Chalobah, I would just put my middle finger up and I'll say, what on earth are you playing at? Like, the disrespect that you lot done to this guy, and now you want to recall him halfway through the season. Which then, when Wesley Fofana, when he comes back from his injury, is Chalobah even going to start? God knows. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Keep it a buck, D. Honestly, the loan would have probably come with a buy clause had it not happened at the last minute the way it did. You know, so like they knew that they didn't want to keep him at the team. You know what I mean? So why do this? And the weird thing to me is the fact that they're only playing two at the back right now. In the game against us, they started Achimpong and they started Colwell. They had Disasi and whatchamacallit on the bench and Tosin on the bench. So you've got four guys that can play.
And they recalled the South American. They recalled the South American.
They recalled the South American dude. You got one guy that's going to be returning next month in February and another one that's going to be returning in March. It's like there's really no reason for them to recall him outside of the spite of tying us, of having a draw against us. Like,
quickly, my theory of this though, like, there's been how many news breaking about this story, but when you actually read every story, there's no story. All it says is he's got a recall clause, and what these journalists do, they take one. Chelsea have got a centre back issue. They can recall Chalobah. Then all of a sudden, it's news. It was always there. Do you know what I mean? So,
but then why is it coming out then? Why is it coming out now?
Because that's what a lot of these rumors are for clicks. They're not real things being put out there. I don't think personally. Why it doesn't make sense at all. And then it's like one journalist.
They've got injuries. I mean,
they had two centre backs on the bench.
Yeah,
I know, but then
you got
they
two
might
legit
trust
guys that
Chalobah
are
more
not
now.
playing.
They've got injuries. No one's talking about bringing Andre. They got Andre Santos on loan at Strasbourg, who's doing unbelievable. Like it's to me, it's just we've played them on the weekend. It's just a rumor mill to me. I could be wrong.
But then when
to me,
Athletic and
to me, it's a
Romano
nothing story.
it just feels a bit weird.
Fabrizio said a couple of days ago that there was no release clause.
Yeah, I know, but forget. Yeah, I know he said that, but I'm talking about more about the Athletic. The Athletic, they wouldn't put out something if there's nothing behind it.
Yeah,
like,
but also the Athletic have a subscription that costs $6.99, $5.99. They have to churn out these news. They have to do it.
I know. They didn't say, but they just said they're considering it. Like, so
but that's not to me. That's not news. That's not who's considering it? Who? But who?
You reckon it makes sense though.
Is it Maresca considering it? Is it Maresca? Is it the owner? Is it the director? Who's considering it?
It must be Joe Shields.
Because Maresca said Chalobah has no place in this squad.
Right, exactly. That doesn't make any sense.
But then
I get it's the news, but it's weird. It's weird to me that a guy goes from being exiled to being considered for being brought back when it's not truly he can be brought back.
He's not even good in the two. He's not even good in the two.
If they do that to us, they've ruined everything for us.
That's the only thing. That's like if they do it, it's complete. It's a spiteful move. If they do it,
but if they do it, then we have a loan spot for a Premier League team. We can get another.
Yeah, but it's like that. It's a headache right now that we don't need. We literally spoke about Diouf. We spoke about Essay as well. Like there's other players and other positions that we're trying to negotiate and focus on. Like that's the last thing that we want to be dealing with centre backs. Like we will find in that area, but he's been a consistent starter for us, and I wouldn't personally go ahead with Richards for the end of the season or anyone like that because I just feel like
do you think Chalobah would even accept being recalled? He'd say no.
I have a choice.
I don't know if he has a choice.
There's no way a club recalls a player that says I don't want to come back. There's no way.
Yeah, I guess they can have conversations. I don't know. I don't know what Chalobah's thinking. It's hard to say.
There's no way. I'm putting myself on the line. I might be completely wrong, but I do not think there's anything in this.
I don't think it will happen as well. But what about
Guehi? It happens after we draw 1-1 against them on the weekend.
Yeah, I know. This time is crazy. What about Guehi? I don't think Guehi will leave either, even though they've discussed it.
I think if Guehi wasn't going to go to Liverpool, I think Chelsea first refusal. I think that's not a bad move for him. They need a centre. Yeah, in the summer. Guehi's not going in January. No way.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think as well. Like, there's no point even talking about Guehi.
He's not going anywhere in January.
So Guehi, maybe Chalobah, we might not have power if something happens.
If anything, you just wait till summer and you'd give us Chalobah and then you'd get a cut deal on Guehi. That's what it would be.
Potentially. Boy,
that makes sense. Nothing
I really didn't expect any outgoing conversations, especially linking Chalobah or Guehi to leave the football club. But Fabrizio Romano spoke about it as well as Athletic. Hopefully, nothing comes from it.
Like I said, I could be wrong, but the way football rumors work and the way you see all these journalists, everyone's trying to be the first one to get stuff out. I genuinely don't think there's anything in this. Maybe in the summer, but not in January now.
Potentially, yeah, you might be right. Don is saying, sort out these stupid polls before talking about players, joke of a stadium. You wait till we build a new stand. We can't sort out the polls because otherwise.
What do you mean? Wait. Keep the polls for the away fans. You're not meant to come here and have a nice time.
Care about you lot. Like it's not none of our business polls that you can't see the game. To be fair, you didn't miss out much, did you? What did you miss out on? You had like one shot on target the whole game. So the polls probably saved you from. You probably didn't see the goal from Mateta, but I guess as a Chelsea fan, you want to see the goal from Mateta.
Just because Chelsea give the away fans the best view, 3,000 fans behind the goal, great view. We don't do that. You can be squashed in the corner, restricted views, poles, nasty food, warm beer, small concourse. That's what it is. We're not rolling the red carpet out for you.
Exactly. Like you're on the away fan for a reason. You're not home. It's not your ground. It's not your ground. You can't come to our house and then afterwards make demands like you're the home owner. Like you sit there. If I'm giving you a drink, then you take that drink. Like you're guest. You're a guest. You're not the homeowner. But yeah. Anyways, that's done. He's still upset the fact that they couldn't beat us, and then this season they didn't beat us once. So that's great. Let's talk about another player. And that is That is on Job Bellingham and Andy Diouf from Lens. And according to Alex Howe, a move for either midfielder is unlikely this month. I think that comes as a no surprise. But what do we make of Bellingham and Andy Diouf, not Malick Diouf, the left wing back, the actual centre midfielder, T? Because you weren't here yesterday when we spoke about both.
Well, I was a big fan. I was a big fan of Andy Diouf, 2 or 3 years ago, when before we picked up Adam Wharton, when we were in need of central midfielders, when we were talking about how Czech needed somebody opposite him so badly. Andy Diouf was the guy that I was really liking when he was at Basel, because he went from Basel over to Lens. But he's a really good player too. He's an 8-6 combo guy, can even play a little bit advanced. Had an unbelievable goal in the Olympics for France. But I really like him. He's a good player. Job, I was big on Job in the summertime, and him possibly coming over, but it seemed like Sunderland didn't want to move him. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't really see it happening.
Can you hear that feedback?
Nah. Can you hear it, T? Is it coming from me?
Might be. I'm muted and I still hear it.
Yeah. Okay, so it might be coming from me. Let me go on mute. But yeah.
No, the thing I like about Job, though, it's nice about him, is the fact that, like, he knows the English game, which is always going to be a huge part for what we're talking about with him. And he's got a body that's made for this level of football. He's 6'3". Like, he's bigger than Jude. Like, I mean, he's got a great body for it. Like, and it comes to, if I had to rank him, I'm putting him before Doak, me personally. Like,
but is he?
If I'm going to spend that money, that type of money too.
Isn't he been playing in the double pivot though?
Yeah, he's been playing in double pivot with the new coach. He's been playing as a dual 6, which shows his versatility because he played as a 10 last year.
Yeah, but I don't know if we need another central midfielder though.
But I mean, but we don't have to play him as that either. And I think that's the thing that's nice about him, is that he can play in that midfield too. He can play as one of our attacking 10s. Like, I like that versatility that he brings us.
Yeah, well, it seems like a deal for both of them. It's unlikely anyway. So, it's especially Diouf. He sounds like an exciting player. Even Bellingham, but maybe one for the summer. Let's see what happens with the central midfield.
Very well could
decisions. Update on Odsonne Edouard. According to Mail Sport, Leicester would like to end Edouard's deal early. So, yeah, there is that. However, that relies on Crystal Palace recalling him. Loan fee is significant too.
Gotcha.
One word. Yeah, exactly. We don't care. Like, that's none of our business. That's none of our business.
Not my monkey, not my circus.
They want.
He's not even in the squad.
So like they're like a few places below us, and they want us to help them out by taking back dead wood, so they can then bring in a better player on loan after you're paying a big loan fee. I don't know about that.
Hey man, that money about to
I don't
be
know
spent.
about that as well.
Sorry, we about to spend that money.
I don't know about
Sorry
that,
about that.
Exactly. That's the problem that we can deal with in the summer. The amount of stories that we spoke about today, we are busy. Yeah, we are busy. It's not the time right now to deal with Edouard, with all due respect. We'll come back to that in the summer. We'll have discussions, and then we'll go from there. Like, you agree the loan deal.
Just play Jordan Ayew more. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep room sharing. Don't worry. You'll be back home soon. Well, in about 4 or 5 months. Let's move on to the last bit of news, and that's on Jaden Raymond. And that is that he's a target for Dundee and Colchester in this month transfer window. I'll be honest, people, I didn't realize he's still with us.
Yeah, he's been hurt. That's why he hasn't gone on loan. They were wanting to send him out on loan prior in the summer, but he got hurt.
Yeah, didn't Portsmouth want him before, didn't they? So
Portsmouth and Colchester, the same 2 teams that are talking about it right now.
But it looks like Agbonone, Mustafa, all these other players, Derry, Marsh, they've gone ahead of him. Maybe it's time for him to leave, restart his career. Sounds like one of those might even end up at Croydon Athletic.
Croydon Athletic.
Possibly. They're on the up.
Croydon Athletic. Oh man, like what?
He's actually
what made you go with that?
he's an amazing
What,
artist.
Nia Kirby, Brandon Pierrick?
Croydon Athletic's got Nia Kirby.
Mate, that's owned by Stormzy and Zaha.
No. Are you taking the piss? Are you serious?
Is
Yeah.
is Nia Kirby really with them?
Nia Kirby's there,
Nia Kirby's at
wow.
Croydon Athletic.
yeah.
Yeah, that is sad. I remember he was like, he's meant to be like an exciting prospect at one point.
The professional,
He's English football player who plays for AFC Croydon Athletic.
That is wild, T. I don't think you understand the context. That's like
At 24 years old, yeah.
That is crazy. Like
they're on the up. They're on the up.
They're on the up, but
and
I
then
mean,
wasn't
you
it a
can't really
point
be
where,
on the down at Croydon Athletic. There isn't a down.
Wasn't
Who else
Blackpool
is there?
buying from us?
There's another winger there. There's another winger there as well. He was with us a couple of years ago. Omalabu. Yeah. And Brandon Pierrick.
Now, wasn't Blackpool trying to buy Nia Kirby from us at one point?
Yeah, that was years ago. Yeah.
That's just crazy. It's just crazy that they were in the championship trying to buy him, and now he's with Croydon. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, football's crazy, man. Football's crazy. Football is a crazy sport. I never knew that. I never knew Nia Kirby was at Croydon Athletic, but big up to Croydon Athletic for getting Nia Kirby, I guess, since he's meant to have some kind of talent. And Brandon Pierrick as well, which is crazy because I remember Brandon Pierrick was the one that a lot of people got upset with Roy, including me, when he said that he owes me a bottle of wine. Something along the lines when he played against Liverpool.
I guess Roy wasn't wrong about that one, huh?
Hey, exactly. What are you saying? Bring back Roy? T.
Nah, I'm just saying he wasn't wrong about that one. That's it.
Okay.
Because he's been wrong about a whole lot of other stuff.
All right, cool. We're gonna wrap up, people. That's it from us. If you have enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. There's a lot of news that we went through today. We spoke about ownership, spoke about players coming in, players going out. So if you just joined us live now, go to the start of the stream, send in your questions if you have any in the comment section down below, and I'll try to answer as much as possible. We'll be back. 99% chance tomorrow, because I doubt tomorrow is going to be quiet based on what happened today. But that's it from us, and until next time, up the Palace.
Up the Palace.